25th of July 1998 was when my first wife died. It came as such a surprise. We all thought she was going to get well, and she'd gone. And I stood at the bottom of the stairs in our hallway and just cried. But God brought me through.
Yeah, in the first lockdown, at that point they were telling us only go out for an hour a day to exercise. Kind of even basic things like that was just totally stripped away, and there was so little control over that, and feeling quite helpless. I found that actually I experienced a real time of anxiety. You know, you were consuming all this media that was talking about how terrible it was and the death toll rising, etc. And John was quite ill during that time as well, and kind of went through a real time of like kind of just being really run down, quite a lot of like migraines and being laid up for kind of weeks at a time, and it felt like a time of real unanswered prayer, because I'd be praying that his health would improve, and it felt like that was I wasn't sure whether God was answering that or not, because it was clearly just continuing. And so that felt, that I felt really helpless during that time. I think that led to a real time of just anxiety like I hadn't really experienced before that point.
I think for me it was when my first marriage was breaking up. I was seeking God so much, and nothing seemed to be changing, and I can even remember walking up and down, shaking my fist at the ceiling, saying, God, what are you doing? And just feeling it had all gone completely beyond my control, and there was nothing I could do to affect what was happening. So I think that was probably, the hardest time, when I felt most helpless.
And similarly for me, because when Sheila got cancer, I really got into prayer in a big way, fasting and weekly, not for the whole week, but I'd have a day of fasting, and I'd walk around near my work and so on, and pray and trusting God and so on, and of course the gradually as time went on, it became clear the doctors could do no more, and then I said, right, hallelujah, this is the time for you, Lord, for you to power in now and do what the doctors can't. And of course it didn't happen.
A couple of years ago I took a new job that I really thought the Lord was calling me to. Like, the situation, just kind of the way that all the pieces fell into place when I wasn't even looking for a new job, I really thought the Lord had called me into that situation. And within about three or 4 weeks of starting that job, I just started to feel so despondent and so miserable. And after 3 or 4 months was just at a point where I thought, I don't even want to be here anymore. I don't want to be doing this. I don't know why you called me here. I don't know what I'm trying to learn. This is really, really difficult. Went to church every week and just cried. Just was horrible. And I've never felt like that before. I'm not a person who's fortunately really struggled with my mental health or in, different situations. I'm a wallow for a day and then, get on with it. But really couldn't understand why the Lord had called me there. And after 7 months, really felt the kind of conviction to go back to where I'd come from, which took a lot of humility to say, could I come back to the job that I'd previously been in? That was really tough at the time.
The only time I felt helpless in my life was when my late husband was dying, and I remember praying desperate prayers, but I hadn't a clue who I was praying to, really. And after he died, it just felt, how on earth am I going to cope? I've got 2 young daughters. People can help and they're wonderful, but they can't give you that inner strength and peace that only God can give. So I think at my most helpless time was back when David died, and I felt absolutely, totally bereft, and I didn't know how I was going to move forward.
Looking back when I felt so totally out of control, my go-to was the Psalms, because every emotion I seemed to be feeling was in the Psalms, and There were a number of times when reading the Psalms, I was just totally filled with joy, not happiness, just overwhelmed with joy, which didn't alter my circumstances one jot, but kept me going.
Yeah, I agree. And so the Psalms were great, and Christian music was great. So keeping you going, and keeping you trusting, keeping you looking up rather than down at the circumstances. Yeah.
Knowing the word is important. I hold on to Psalm 112 and Psalm 34. Psalm 112, it says, even in darkness light dawns for the upright, and there is no fear of bad news. And in Psalm 34 it says, he delivers me from all my fears and rescues me from all my trouble. So I've been times when I've just walked around the living room. I will not fear bad news. My heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. The Lord delivers me from all my fears and rescues me from all my trouble. And sometimes I can walk around for an hour just professing those scriptures. Because let's not pretend faith is a battle.
Oh, it is.
And sometimes you've got to just chase away those thoughts. You can't chase thoughts with thoughts. You have to chase thoughts with words.
You need to speak out. You need to speak out your faith.